Hi. Do you hear that sound? It's an invitation to a festival that's happening all over New York Central Park today. Everywhere people are singing, dancing, dressing up, and getting together to celebrate the music and culture of Africa. You know, all Black Americans have roots in Africa since our ancestors originally came from there. So Africa is very much a part of who we are today. One of my favorite things about Africa is the tradition of storytelling. Here's one of the stories I love best. It's called Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters.
Mufaro's Beautiful Daughters, an African Tale. By John Steptoe. Read by Phylicia Rashad. A long time ago in Africa, a man named Mufaro lived with his two daughters, Manyara and Nyasha. Everyone agreed that Manyara and Nyasha were very beautiful. Manyara was almost always in a bad temper. She teased her sister and said, "Someday, Nyasha, I will be a queen and you will be a servant in my household." "If that should come to pass," Nyasha responded, "I will be pleased to serve you, but why do you say such things?" "Because everyone praises you," Manyara replied. "But when I am queen, everyone will know that your silly kindness is only weakness." Nyasha was sad that Manyara felt this way, but she ignored her sister's words and went about her chores. One day, Nyasha noticed a small garden snake resting beneath a yam vine. "Good day, little Nyoka. You are welcome here." From that day on, Nyoka was always at Nyasha's side when she tended her garden. Early one morning, a messenger from the city arrived. "The most worthy and beautiful daughters of the land are invited to appear before the king," he proclaimed, "and the king will choose one to become queen." Mufaro called Manyara and Nyasha. "It would be a great honor to have one of you chosen," he said. "Prepare yourselves to journey to the city." That night, when everyone was asleep, Manyara stole quietly out of the village. In her hurry, she almost stumbled over a small boy who suddenly appeared standing in the path. "Please," said the boy, "I'm hungry. Will you give me something to eat?" "Out of my way," Manyara replied. "Tomorrow I will become your queen. How dare you stand in my path?" After traveling for what seemed to be a great distance, Manyara came to a clearing. There was an old woman seated on a stone. "Manyara," she said, "I will give you some advice. Soon you will see a grove of trees. They will laugh at you, but you must not laugh in return." "How dare you advise your future queen?" Manyara scolded. "Stand aside, you ugly old woman." Just as the old woman had foretold, Manyara came to a grove of trees, and they did indeed seem to be laughing at her. "I laugh at you, trees!" she shouted and hurried on. In the morning, the wedding party assembled outside, but Manyara was missing. Everyone bustled about, searching and calling for her. When they found her footprints on the path to the city, they decided to go on as planned. They were deep in the forest when Nyasha saw the small boy standing by the side of the path. "You must be hungry," she said, and she handed him a yam she had brought for her lunch. The boy smiled and disappeared. Later, the old woman appeared and pointed the way to the city. Nyasha thanked her and gave her a small pouch with sunflower seeds. Then, when the party came to the towering trees, their uppermost branches seemed to bow down to Nyasha as she passed beneath them. At last, they were near their destination. Nyasha ran ahead. She stood transfixed at her first sight of the city. But as they entered the city gate, the air was rent by piercing cries, and Manyara ran out wildly. When she saw Nyasha, she fell upon her, sobbing, "Do not go to the king, my sister. Oh, please, father, don't let her go," she cried. "There's a great monster there, a snake with 5 heads. He would have swallowed me alive if I had not run. Oh, my sister, please don't go inside." It frightened Nyasha to see her sister so upset. But leaving her father to comfort Manyara, she bravely made her way to the king's chamber and opened the door. On the seat of the great chief's stool lay the little garden snake. Nyasha laughed with relief and joy. "My little friend," she exclaimed, "it's such a pleasure to see you. But why are you here?" "I am the king," Nyoka replied. And there, before Nyasha's eyes, the garden snake changed shape. "I am the king. I am also the hungry boy with whom you shared a yam in the forest, and the old woman to whom you made a gift of sunflower seeds. But you know me best as Nyoka. Because I have been all of these, I know you to be the most worthy and most beautiful daughter in the land. It would make me very happy if you would be my wife." And so it was that Nyasha agreed to be married. Villagers from all around were invited to the celebration, and a great feast was held. Mufaro proclaimed to all that he was the happiest father in the land, for he was blessed with 2 beautiful and worthy daughters, Nyasha, the queen, and Manyara, a servant in the queen's household.
Great.
Thank you.
You know, when the call went out for Nyasha's wedding, it was probably played on a drum. Drums are the heartbeat of African life. But it's how a drum is made that gives it its power. So, it's really important who the drum maker is.
I'm Kobla Mensadente, and I'm an African drum maker. When I make a drum, I feel very connected to an ancient tradition, a tradition that goes back many, many centuries. And when I carve a drum, I feel I've become a part of that tradition. The first thing I do when I carve the drum is to take my tool, the asso, and take off the bark of the wood. When I work with it, I have to be very careful because I can hurt myself easily with this tool. When I choose a log to make a drum, I look for something that will be large enough, something that will be strong enough to make the instrument that I want to make. The wood that I like to use is red cherry or red oak. These are woods that make good drums. Today, I'm making a djembe drum. This drum comes from the old Mali Empire. It is a drum of celebration. After I finish shaping the drum, I begin to hollow out inside of the shell. I'll use a tool called the Gauss chisel. It's like a knife, but it has a curved blade on it. And this allows me to scoop out the wood inside the log. When I make a drum, I put a lot of my own energy, spirit, and soul into it. So it's important to me that the person who plays the instrument understands that this drum is something that we both share. I feel when you can take something out of a raw piece of wood and create an instrument out of it, then you're making magic.